What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to a brand new video. We're once again back here with another offseason rebuild, this time circling back to some of the teams that never even made it into the postseason. Obviously, we've been doing the teams that have been eliminated from the play-in tournament, but going back to one of the worst teams in the league in the East, that being the Charlotte Hornets, it's their turn today. It's going to be a very interesting offseason for the Charlotte Hornets. A lot of questions about guys on the roster, guys like Mark Williams, who was traded at the deadline. Of course, the trade got retracted. And then the question will be, is Lamelo Ball's time in Charlotte over as well? Let's go ahead and jump in and do this Charlotte Hornets offseason rebuild in NBA 2K25. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys drop a like on this one and subscribe if you're new to this channel. As always, greatly appreciated. YouTube tells me about 56% of the people that watch these videos aren't actually subscribed. So if you do fall in that 56%, want to change that as we're on the road to 50,000 subs, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, for context, I'm recording this ahead of Indiana Milwaukee game 2. I guess 2K leaked the script a little bit. I tried to make it to where New York and Detroit was tied, and then LA and Denver was tied because that's the games that happened yesterday, but 2K decided to sim a couple series. So they have Milwaukee and Indiana, or they have Milwaukee tying the series tonight, and they have Minnesota going up 2-0 apparently. We'll see if that ends up being true. Let's go ahead and simulate the playoffs, and we'll see what we can do this offseason about the Charlotte Hornets. So I want to go ahead and talk about the main subject. Is Lamelo Ball's time in Charlotte over, is the question. I tend to think it might be, man. I really do. Obviously, there's a new front office here from a couple years, or I think they took over like a year ago or whatever it may be. It wasn't that long ago they've taken over, obviously. And I just think there's a small possibility that they could see an opportunity to trade Lamelo Ball at his peak value and get some really good return out of him. And then also it kind of depends on how the lottery falls. And I think that's what I might do today, depending on how the lottery falls. I think we can get a massive haul for Lamelo Ball, and then whoever we draft with, hopefully the number 1 or number 2 pick. That's the most ideal situation for this to be something I want to do. We can build our core around whoever we draft. We'll see what our lottery luck is first before we make that statement decision. So let's go into the lottery and let's see where our pick falls. So we're projected to land in the top 3, but we'll see if we stay within that. Hopefully we get number 1 or 2. That would be the most ideal thing in this video if we could. So let's see if that does end up happening, and we will not get that. We actually fell to 7. Okay, so I actually put some anchors in my plans a little bit, because if we would have gotten 1 or 2, I more than likely was going to trade Lamelo Ball today. I'm not going to lie to you, but there's still an opportunity that I think we can maybe take advantage of potentially still doing that, because I see a path to potentially making something work, but we'll see. I wouldn't mind just drafting with 7. Dropping to 7 would obviously be worst case scenario if you're the Charlotte Hornets. The Rockets obviously have the number 1 overall pick. Would they trade number 1 and 7 for 7 and Lamelo Ball or something like that? That would be interesting, but I don't think they would. I don't think that makes a ton of sense. The other team I'm kind of looking at right now is Toronto. Would Toronto be interested in Lamelo Ball? Do they even have the ability to make that work? More than likely, I don't think this is going to work the way I wanted it to, because if we would have gotten 1 or 2, I was 100% about to trade Lamelo Ball and start fresh with Cooper Flagg or Dylan Harper, but we don't have that opportunity anymore. So I don't think we actually are going to trade Lamelo, unless if we get somebody at 7 that I feel is worthy of building around, which I don't think will have happen, obviously. So Charles Lee will remain the head coach, but let's head to draft night. But again, just saying it right now, if the Hornets get lucky and get 1 or 2 in this lottery, it would not totally shock me if they see a path to resetting and trading Lamelo Ball for a bunch of value. Obviously, Lamelo has a history of ankle injuries, so he's still only 23 years old, 4 years on his contract. They'd get a lot in return for him. It would just be kind of an interesting situation if they decided to go that route. But I don't know if I see that path anymore with getting the 7th overall pick. So I think Lamelo Ball is going to stick around, I guess, because of that. And that's not a bad thing necessarily, so I shouldn't be complaining. But Lamelo Ball is probably going to stay because of the lottery results. So number 1 is going to be Cooper Flagg to Houston. I could have maybe made some kind of trade with Toronto to get to 3. But if the Pelicans take Dylan Harper, it wouldn't even matter. So yeah, I was not going to build this thing around Ace Bailey, although we could have. I wanted to build around Harper or Flagg if we would have gotten that lucky. But Ace Bailey goes to Toronto. Portland's going to get Liam McNeely at 4, which is interesting. If Edgecombe falls to us, that'd be awesome, but he goes to Utah. And you got I know that's not his. Someone told me this is not his actual name. Sometimes the draft class creator has to misspell names because of, like, Duke has a weird profanity thing. But this is what we have on the board now. So we have Will Riley, Dimon, Jeremiah Fears. We could take Maluok, who could be our replacement potentially to, obviously, Mark Williams, who was, they tried to trade him away. So I don't hate the idea of that. We could take Do we want to take our shooting guard, or do we want to take our center? There's Jeremiah Fears as well. I kind of want to take my new center because we're probably going to trade Mark Williams this offseason based off the fact that the Hornets tried to trade him. I have to imagine things are somewhat awkward there. Maybe they rekindled things, obviously, but I do think at pick 4, or I guess 7, I should say, I'm going to go ahead and take Maluok. So we're going to take Maluok to be our brand new center paired next to what we have going on right now. And then we're going to look at round 2. We have Donnie Freeman. We have anybody of interest to me. I'm going to go ahead and take Donnie Freeman with this pick out of Syracuse, and then I'll let the assistant GM take care of the other one. So we walk away with our brand new 5, probably going to start right out of the gate, and then we'll have Freeman and Axel Lundberg, which we'll sign as well. Player options, Jeffries, we're going to go ahead and decline. Of course, we're going to accept Lamelo Balls, and then Nick Smith and Mark Williams will be accepted as well. Qualifying offers, KJ Simpson, Wendell Moore, Damian, and then Trey Mann. We'll go ahead and extend the qualifying offers on all of them. And then for free agency, I mean, we have the ability to spend on anybody if we wanted to. I still can't believe 2K has never updated to where Caruso is on the Thunder. Like, he obviously got an extension of life, and 2K has never updated it. It's so weird. So I need to go back and update it. I've been meaning to do that, but he's not even supposed to be here in free agency, basically. All right. So I think the first step is we are going to go ahead and try to trade Mark Williams still this offseason. Average 15 and 10, but just based off the fact they tried to trade him at the deadline, I have to imagine there is the possibility a trade would be revisited on the last year of his deal. Obviously, he's had injury concerns as well. So I think if we can pair Mark Williams with one of our big contracts and get something really good in return, that would be the most ideal way to start this video. So we'll see if we can make that happen. So this one is kind of out of left field, but I do wonder if the Raptors would, you know, maybe do business with me involving Grady Dick becoming a new member of the Charlotte Hornets. So I'm going to see if we can do a swap for Mark Williams and Grady Dick. Again, I don't know if this is the most realistic idea in the world, but it is different. And I don't trade for Grady Dick all that often, which is why I kind of like the idea of it. Toronto's in this weird spot where it looks like they're trying to make the playoffs very quickly. And Grady Dick obviously could be a huge contributor to that. But they can get a young Mark Williams to back up Jakob Poeltl, who'd be cheap for a year. They can kind of evaluate him after that. Not the most realistic thing in the world, and they just drafted Ace Bailey, so maybe they would be fine with trading away Grady Dick. So I'm going to offer Mark Williams for Grady Dick straight up and just kind of see what they would say to that. And they want to counter me. They want a top 5 protector. They'll give me Jamal Shed, which I just can't get behind that idea. So we'll throw them Mark Williams, and let's say we also threw them... Can we throw like a Donnie Freeman? No, we can't throw any like... Okay, so can we do this Grizzlies pick? Okay, so Grizzlies pick gets it done. And we are going to end up with Grady Dick as our new starting shooting guard for this Hornets team. So Mark Williams is gone. The awkwardness will no longer be here. Maluok obviously gets a brand new opportunity to start at the center position. So Grady Dick, welcome to Charlotte. Very happy to have you. So now that gives us a Lamelo Ball, Grady Dick backcourt with Nick Smith. And then we'll move Brandon Miller to the 3, of course. So we'll move him there right now. Obviously, once he's healthy, he'll take over that role there. So we'll move him to small forward. And we can do secondary position shooting guard still. So I like that a lot. So Grady Dick, Brandon Miller, and then you have Miles Bridges still at the 4, and then you still have Maluok, Diabate, and Nurkic at the 5 right now. And we can still potentially use Nurkic's contract at the deadline as it is expiring, maybe to bring in something else. So not too shabby. So the only thing I think only thing left I'd be interested in is potentially bringing Trey Mann back, who is injured right now, but he could be our backup point guard. So we're going to go ahead and renounce pretty much everybody other than Trey. Well, we could bring KJ Simpson back too for depth. I'm going to renounce this Mark Williams trade exception, but we're basically just going to hope that we can get Trey Mann back for as cheap as possible in the last day. Then KJ Simpson can come back too, develop in the background a little bit, maybe become something in the future. So I'm going to give Trey Mann a 3-year deal, maybe around $9 million a year. That'd be pretty nice if we could get him for that. And it looks like, nope, he says no to that, so never mind. What if we did 3 years, 9.5? What do you say to that? Or 9.2? There we go. So we got a deal. So Trey Mann's going to come back. KJ Simpson's also back. Okay, I kind of rock with this. So, again, I fully came on today's video, fully intending to potentially trade LaMelo Ball, but we pivoted once we didn't get the lottery luck we wanted. So instead, we bring in Grady Dick, which will be an interesting piece. Nick Smith, and then Nurkic has regressed. But again, we could use his money at the deadline potentially to do something else with that. So there is definitely a path to potentially carving out a play-in spot this year if we can, with an addition of Grady Dick and hopefully a healthy Brandon Miller and hopefully a healthy LaMelo Ball all season. So let's go take a look at the rotation for year 1. I'm pretty excited about what we've done. I'm going to release one of our second-round picks, unfortunately. But let's go see what this is going to look like. So here's what we're looking like going into year 1. Lamelo Ball still at point guard with Grady Dick at the 2. Brandon Miller at the 3. Miles, I almost said Mikal. Miles Bridges at the 4. Nurkic is starting at the 5, but I do think I might throw Maluok out there, but I don't know. We'll see. Trey Mann, Nick Smith, Okogie, Grant Williams, and Diabate. I do want Maluok getting minutes right away, so I think that might kick out, I guess, Josh Okogie in this instance, because I want Maluok to play immediately, because I want him to be the big part, a big part of what we do. So we're going to throw him some run here. Maybe even give him, like, let's say we give him 20, like 20-something minutes a game. We'll continue to start Nurkic for now, but Maluok may take over that eventually. And then the shot tendencies, LaMelo Ball shot tendency, of course, is very high. And then after that, you have Grady Dick's, which is actually extremely low. So I'm going to bring this up just a tad bit. Obviously, Miles Bridges needs to be high, too, for now. And we'll leave Brandon Miller and, like, Grady Dick for now at 75 and 74. So we can advertise Miles Bridges a little bit, because I don't know if we'll keep Miles Bridges the whole video, but we'll see. And if I do stop at the deadline for whatever reason to show you anything, of course I will do that. I'm not really sure what to expect this season. It'd be cool if we made it to the play-in tournament, but obviously the Hornets have been there a few times already, and they got smacked the 2 times they were there. But we also could be on a path to getting in the lottery again, and then maybe we revisit the idea of trading LaMelo again, so who knows. But I will see you guys at the end of the season. If I stop at the deadline, I will show you what we're trying to do. We are, in fact, at the trade deadline, and I'm trying to sell off Miles Bridges here. I'm trying to get off his contract entirely. I'm hoping to get a lottery-protected first off Detroit. He can go back home and play with Cade Cunningham and the Pistons. So let's see if we can't send this over. They're going to counter me. They want Josh Green. I take Simone. It does suck to trade Josh Green away, but I'm actually okay with this. We get a lottery-protected 2028. We get off some salary as well, so Josh Green's contract will be gone too. So it kind of gives us some flexibility. I think Simone is expiring as well. So yeah, sign me up for this. We're going to go ahead and do this. And this is going to free up some opportunities for, obviously, Grady Dick and Brandon Miller to have a higher shot tendency, which is why I also like it at the same magnitude as well. So I still want Maluok to play over Okogie, so I'm still going to fix that. Okogie's probably going to be a free agent. I'm probably not going to bring him back if I had to guess, but we'll see. So I'm going to bring Maluok's up to 17 again. And then what are the stats looking like right now? So you had 19 for Brandon Miller, even with a low shot tendency, and then Grady Dick with 13. So I guess we'll leave it. I mean, I might boost it up just a little bit. So we'll go 80, maybe, just a little bit, and we'll go 77, something like that. So, all right, I'll see you guys at the end of this season. As you guys can see, we're more than likely going to end up as a lottery team again, which is why I felt selling off Miles Bridges was necessary. We get a pick out of it, and we clear some cap as well. Let's go ahead and see what we can do in the offseason once we arrive there. Jay is your MVP. Dylan Harper is your Rookie of the Year. DiVincenzo is your 6th-man Giannis offensive player. Scoot's your most improved. And Luke is your clutch player. And Mark is your coach of the year. And Murphy is your executive. So here's your all-NBA first team. Do we get LaMelo Ball in one of these? We do not. So it looks like he will not make one, which does suck a little bit. But all-rookie first team and all-rookie second team. All-NBA first team, which we kind of scrolled through already. So yeah, of course we don't have LaMelo Ball representing this time around. So here are your player stats. You had 22 from LaMelo, 18.5 from Brandon Miller, 13 from Grady Dick, 11 from Tobias Harris, 10 from Trey Mann, 10 from Nick Smith, 8 from Maluok, 7 from Nurkic, 5 from Grant Williams, and 4 from Diabate. So let's go ahead, sim with these playoffs, and we'll be looking at the lottery again to see if we get lucky or not. So the Raptors and the Spurs. So we actually give the Raptors Mark Williams, and they make it to the finals. Damn, okay. Interesting. So let's see if they go on to win it all. And no, the Spurs will beat them in 7. And the Raptors were super close to actually getting it done. Interesting. All right. Well, you got LeBron James calling a career. Russell Westbrook, who's done great things in Denver in the playoffs so far. Also retiring. Let's go to the lottery. And no, fingers crossed again that we get some luck here. So we're projected to be in the top 3 again. We got unlucky and fell all the way to 7. So let's see if we can't stay in this top 3 this time. It would be the most ideal thing if we could win the AJ DeBanza sweepstakes, but it's been a while since that's happened to me, and no, it's not going to happen. So we dropped to 5. So the Blazers are going to get 1, Bulls 2, Pelicans 3, and then we get the 5th overall selection. So once again, I'm not going to be adding like an AJ DeBanza or anything, so that is a little disappointing, but what can you do? So we're going to keep Charles Lee as the head coach still working to build with him. And I think we're just about to simply about to draft. I do have to fix a couple picks, but don't think there's going to be any like big trades I'm about to make. So I will just see you guys in draft with who we're taking at the 5th overall selection. Lottery luck has not been on our side today. Let's jump in and draft with the 5th overall pick. And to me, there's no guarantee that whoever we get at 5 is staying a Charlotte Hornet throughout this offseason, but we shall see. It kind of all depends. So we have arenas, so we can either take Kill Up Pete or we can take Caleb Wilson. I guess we do kind of need a new power forward, so I am going to go ahead and take Kill Up Pete here to be that brand new 4. So he actually does make sense on this team, so there is a chance we do keep him around, but we'll see. So we're going to have Kill Up Pete and Dylan Hughes. We'll sign them. Player options, we can accept every single one of these, and then qualifying offers, KJ Simpson's a free agent again, and then for free agency, we have Nurkic, who we're not bringing back, Tobias. We're not bringing any of these guys back, as you guys can see. So we can pretty much renounce everybody other than KJ Simpson, because there's no intentions of bringing any of them back. Now, we actually might have some cap space at our disposal. We actually are close to having some cap room, so I know the Hornets, like, last big free agent sign was Gordon Hayward, which never made any sense, but that's what they did. So our backcourt is kind of settled. I like it a lot. Grady Dick and Brandon Miller both need extensions next summer, so we do have to keep that in mind. We don't want to make ourselves too expensive, so probably won't be signing a big contract this summer, unfortunately. So we have Grant Williams, Tijon Salon, but we can clearly move someone to the 3. We have Diabate and Maluok as the 5. So do we just stick with this? Which I would imagine Lamelo would be getting tired of that, obviously, so part of me doesn't want to, but I'm going to move Salon to the 3 so he can be the backup 3 this year. And then KJ Simpson will just come back somewhere. But we pretty much have a full rotation if we choose to stick with this. But I would imagine, like I said, LaMelo Ball probably getting tired of not being competitive. So part of me wants to be aggressive and grab something here. But at the same time, we have to be kind of careful. So we don't actually quite have cap space for some of these power forwards. But like if we brought in like a Jaren Jackson or something like that, it would be kind of nice. So I'm going to renounce all these guys. And we're going to take this to the last day of free agency, and what we're going to do is we're going to see if there is a power forward worth signing on the last day that we can give like a 1 or 2 year deal to, because like no one else is signing them, right? So I have like John Collins, I guess, but not really what I want to do. Although, let's see, he averaged 13 on 37% from threes, so not too shabby. What else we got? We got Jabari and Tari Eason here. I mean, we could give Jabari Smith a deal because, like, in a way, I could see a world where he's just sitting here in free agency and no one's giving him opportunity. And we do have, we're close. Okay, I don't know if he would take a 1 year deal, but I wouldn't mind giving him a 1 year contract to see. He doesn't quite want to accept that, though. I do wonder if we got rid of Grant Williams' contract, if he would. We also could bring in Tari Eason as well, which would be another nice addition, but I don't think we have enough for him either, actually. So we only have about $20 million to use, unless if we dumped Grant Williams, which I think I would be fine with trying to do right now. If we can bring in Jabari Smith to get ourselves like another really good player next to LaMelo, because at this point with no lottery luck, we're building around LaMelo no matter what. So let's get aggressive. Let's make some things happen around him. So I'm going to see if we can't dump Grant Williams' contract somewhere. That way we have the ability to sign Jabari Smith. So the Memphis Grizzlies seem to have the ability to absorb him, so I am down for this. What I think I'm going to do to make this feel a little bit realistic to where they do us a favor, I'm going to give them a couple seconds on top of that, and then they just got to give me a second. So basically, they're going to net profit in a way where they get an extra second-round pick. They just give me an Atlanta unprotected, and we, get the ability to go after Jabari Smith. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to throw Jabari Smith this offer. I assume we're going to be able to offer him a deal. So we're going to give him a 2 year deal worth $34 million. We're going to actually go 3 and then, let's do team option. That's what I was looking for. So let's go 2 + 1 team option on the 3rd year to see. It's a little bit rich for my liking, but can we make it 30 or 29 flat, something like that? Let's do that. So I think he might accept that. So it's going to be $29 million and it's only 2 years. We're going to bring Jabari in and KJ Simpson also comes back. So now you have LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Jamar Smith up. Nick Smith is up. So we have Smith Jr. is here as well, paired together. Grady Dick, 82. 82, Trey Mann. 80, Maluok. 79, Salon. And 79, KJ Simpson. So this gives us a very interesting roster around LaMelo that I think has a chance of competing in this Eastern Conference after the addition of Jabari to this team. If he had the ability to break out in Charlotte, which I do think there could be that ability, obviously. So the spacing should be awesome around. Actually, yeah, I think every single player in our starting lineup has the ability to shoot from the perimeter. So that gives us a very dynamic spacing, gives us very dynamic spacing, which I'm excited about. But let's look at this rotation. Let's look at it. So Power only lands as 20th overall, but here is proficiency. So it is a 4-star balance. They still want to start. They actually want to start Nick Smith over Grady Dick, which I I guess is fine in theory, but I did kind of want to start Grady Dick for his height. So I do think I am going to leave Nick Smith still on the bench. I think I'd just rather start Grady Dick because of his size. That way we have a lineup that is very big. So we're going to put non-starter on Nick Smith. I like Nick Smith and all, but him being 6'2", it makes me want to put in Grady Dick in over him. So LaMelo Ball, Grady Dick, Brandon Miller, Jabari, Maluok. I like it a lot. We'll see if it works out, though. Nick Smith, Trey Mann, KJ Simpson, Salon, and Koa P. So that gives us a really dynamic rotation around LaMelo that I think has a chance of being pretty good. So LaMelo Ball shot tendency remains high. Brandon Miller's is still really high as well. And then Grady Dick's I'm going to bring down a little bit. I also don't need his touch tendency to be high because I actually want Jabari Smith to take advantage of potentially being really good here. So I'm going to give him an 80 shot tendency on the dot. We'll move his touch tendency to, we'll leave it at a 70. We'll bring Grady Dick's down to like a 60. Something like that. And we'll see how this goes. So let's simulate the first few games here. And let's see how our record is. So not off to a great start, but we do win the next 3. And we're 3-4. Okay, what about these games? So 3-5. We're right around 500 at the moment. So we'll have to see if it eventually all clicks. But I'm excited about this roster. I'm optimistic that it can work. We'll have to see. Now we're at 500 and now we're over it. So now things are starting to work out here. Hopefully, if we don't lose games here. We might find ourselves in the playoffs this year, potentially. We're the 4th seed right now. I'm excited. I'll see you guys at the end of the season. 14-11 right now. Hopefully we can finish strong and be in the playoffs. Cade wins MVP. AJ's your Rookie of the Year. Josh Giddey's your 6th man in Detroit. Wemby Defensive Player. Igor Most Improved. Clutch Player goes to Anthony Edwards. And Bickerstaff Coach of the Year, as Detroit is having themselves a lot of success. So is Miles Bridges starting for them, I wonder? We'd have to look at that in just a second. But here's your All-NBA first team. All-NBA second and All-NBA third. So I'm still not seeing LaMelo Ball making one of these, which is disappointing, but all good. So we end up as a play-in team, but it's a pretty good play-in team. We went 44-38. So it was still a lot over 500. So Jabari and Brandon Miller both had some good supporting roles next to LaMelo, which is why he didn't average as much as he could have, because there's a lot of scoring on this roster around him, which is nice. So there's a lot more help. But we get to play Miami. So Miami is one of those teams that continually finds themselves in the play-in as well. But hopefully we can take them down to give ourselves a shot at getting into the actual playoffs. So we are going to have the lead right now in Charlotte. Can we take care of business and lay Miami down? And we got a close one, but we will win by 1. We're in the actual playoffs. So for the first time in LaMelo Ball's career, we are in the postseason. We get to play Toronto. We have a good team, but I don't know if we're going to win a championship this year. And Detroit, I still have Miles Bridges starting, and Robert Williams, and Johnny Davis, which very rarely do I ever see Johnny Davis starting on a roster, but okay. So Toronto, they have quickly Ace Bailey, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes. Mark Williams did stay a Raptor, so they did re-sign him to or they just signed him to one. Maybe he came back as a qualifying offer or something. So Jakob Poeltl, Jacoby Walter, and Nikola Jovic rounds up the rotation. So this is going to be a tough one. But game 1 goes to us. We beat them by 1 point, 27-25 from LaMelo and Brandon Miller. Game 2 goes to them. They beat us by 4. Game 3 goes to us. So we are so far very much competing with the Raptors. Jabari drops 29, which is nice. Game 4 goes to them. So it's 146-144 in that one. Fortunately, it falls short. Got super close to taking the 3-1 lead. But let's simcast Game 5 on the road in Toronto. And let's see if we have what it takes to upset the 2nd seed. But it looks like it may not happen here. So we are going to go down 109-147. But there's still a chance we could force a Game 7 to happen. You never know what happens when you get to Game 7. Anything can happen. So we got a close one here, but the Raptors are right on our tails, and they will close us out in 6. The valuable thing, though, is we did get LaMelo Ball playoff experience, which feels great to think about. You got Mavericks and Pistons, and the Mavericks are going to go on to beat the Pistons. So Nico Harrison, his vision pays off, I guess. His presser the other day was brutal, obviously. Durant retires a Laker. But all right, let's go to the lottery. This year, it won't matter for us. I do believe we have Miami's pick, but it is protected, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe oh, wait, where is Miami's pick? Maybe it's not this offseason, the next one. So we sent Miami, or I guess Miami made it in, that's why. So maybe we just get their pick. Yeah, we get their 17th overall selection. That's what I was thinking about. Okay, and then we have Dallas's pick very late, too. So we'll keep Charles Lee, because we made some progress towards being better and made the playoffs, which is nice. Okay, so we have 17, 20, and 30. So 3 first-round picks at our disposal. I don't know if there's anything in particular I'm trying to do with it. We also have Koa Pete, who I forgot to think about, could be developing in the background as someone pretty nice next year. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we probably just are going to draft because I really don't see a path to trading anything because I kind of like my rotation quite a bit. Now, the problem is I don't really know anything about these players on the board right now. Like, I'm pretty blind going into this. I've never heard a lot of these guys because I'm stupid and don't watch college basketball like that. But I'm just going to blind draft, I guess, and we'll let the see if we did a great job. So we got a 70, a 73, and a 69. Not horrible. Could have been worse. Not going to sign the second. And then the player options, Maluok and Salon, we'll bring them back, of course. And then we all know that there's some important free agents. Now, Nick Smith, there is some interest in bringing him back, but when I looked at the extension deadline, this man was asking for $28 million, and there's not a single way I'd give that to him. KJ Simpson probably could be signed for a ton cheaper, but I'm extending the qualifying offer on all of them, obviously, because I want all of them back, in a way. So, Diabate was our backup 5, but he didn't really play last year. As you can see, Nick Smith is sitting out here asking for $32 million. Can't get behind that. I'm going to be honest with you. I just can't get behind that idea. Don't think I'm going to be able to get there with you. So, we're going to renounce pretty much everybody. Brandon Miller's already getting an offer sheet. Obviously, we're going to match that. So, we'll match Brandon Miller, get that taken care of. That's done. Okay. What kind of money do I have to spend, though, as a backup 5? So I guess our backup center position could just be Diabate again, which is fine because he could maybe still keep developing. But I'm still going to probably wait because I don't think there'll be a ton of interest on him. So we're going to take this to the last day of free agency because I'm a cheap ass and I want things to be as cheap as possible, obviously. So still restricted offers. Nick Smith's going to have to come back as a qualifying offer. I can't afford to give him $28 million. That's just too insane. So that's what the plan's going to be. We'll go to day 12. Grady Dick, I'm going to give a contract to, but Nick Smith, KJ Simpson could probably come back in their qualifying offers. They could fight over that backup guard spot. So I'll give Diabate a 2-year deal. We'll go 1+1 on that. And then Grady Dick will get a, I guess, a 3-year, $25 million deal. And boom. So we'll sign that. And then Nick Smith and KJ Simpson back in their qualifying offers. And here's your progression. So Lamelo Ball is down. We have Maluok up to an 82, Koa Pizza up to an 82, Nick Smith's up to an 85. So, man develops really nicely in 2K. You can't deny that. But I just cannot give him $30 million when we're paying Lamelo that much money. And then Brandon Miller got paid and Grady Dick got paid a little bit. So, it was just going to be way too expensive to afford all of that. And Grady Dick, I've noticed, is not that great of a shooter in 2K. So, that sucks because I would love to see him get up to 40% for us. But maybe it's not going to happen. All good. So, let's go ahead, get into rotation for year 4, I think, and hopefully this time we can be a legitimate deep contender in this East. We got to the playoffs. Now it's time to take that next step. 20th overall power rank is what we got, and we're a 4-star balance. So the starting 5 remains the same, and here's what it's looking like. So Lamelo, Grady Dick, Brandon Miller, Jabari, Maluok, Nick Smith, Trey Mann. Our bench is really good. Not even gonna lie to you. So hopefully our bench is a big contributor on why we get things done. But Nick Smith, 86 and 84 Trey Mann. So our guards off the bench are elite, which is nice. And both of them were really good last year off the bench as well, efficiency-wise. So let's simulate the first few games and see how this unfolds. And not off to a great start, but this is kind of how it started last year, where we're just kind of hovering around 500, and the win streak will eventually build on, if I had to guess. So hopefully that is what happens. I will see you guys at the end of the season. I'm hoping to be a top 3 seed, but so far it's not looking that promising. We weren't quite a top 3 seed that I wanted to be, but we do avoid the play-in tournament, which is still a great thing in itself. So we are the 5th seed in the East, and here were your player stats. So you had 20 from Lamelo with 8 assists, 17 from Brandon Miller, 15 from Jabari, 14 from Nick Smith, 13 and 11 from Maluok, 13 from Grady Dick, and 10 from Trey Mann. So let's see how this is about to go. I might even go 8-man rotation in these playoffs just to be safe, to kind of see if we can't make some things happen. But the record was not as good as I would have wanted it to be. But we'll see. We had to play Cleveland in round 1, which is always a tough test. So game 1 goes to them. They blow us out, and they're up 2-0, and we are going to get swept, it looks like, unless if we come back. But no, we're going to get beat in 5 games. So we did not stand a chance. So clearly, whatever we have going on right now doesn't click and it doesn't work. We made the playoffs, but I was hoping to take another step in the right direction. It did not at all. So we got to find the answer for why it did not come to a a better conclusion there, because it just didn't work. So for the lottery, Brooklyn gets 1 and 2, which is pretty insane. Knicks via Washington, Spurs via Boston, and then we have the 22nd pick. And we have plenty of assets at our disposal if we want to do something. So Charles Lee probably won't be brought back after what just happened, obviously. So I'm going to give JJ Redick an offer. We're going to give Nick Nurse an offer. And we're going to hope to get one of those guys to be our new head coach, but we have to prepare to maybe not get either. So let's see if there's anybody else. We have Underwood, who pretty good ratings. Stoffer, obviously, is always there. Trent Peterson's. Fred Daniels? Who's Fred Daniels? I don't know, but he's a beast. I've never even seen Fred Daniels before. But we're going to give him an offer anyway. So Fred Daniels. Not sure who he is, but he's a stud, and we're not going to get any of these guys we offered on, so that's great. I guess we can go for Underwood, who has 5-star offense, 3-star defense. So we can... Actually, Fred Daniels might sign with us. Hold on. Hold the phone. Fred Daniels does sign with us. I've never seen Fred Daniels before, but he has all of the potential in the world. So, yeah, he's our new coach. So welcome in. And now let's head to draft night. So no more Charles Lee. We have Fred Daniels instead. We have the 22nd pick. At this point, I'm going to let the assistant GM take care of it. So we're going to decline Junior Smith. Or, sorry, why did I decline that? I don't know why I just declined that, but whatever, I did. Jabari, I'm going to decline. That's what I was thinking about. I wanted to decline Jabari. I was way too far ahead of myself. Maluok, Koa Pete. The reason why I'm declining Jabari is because I think Koa Pete is probably going to develop enough to where he could be the starter this year. And then we're going to decline Diabate as well. So we're going to accept these. Qualifying offers, Simpson and Salon. We'll see about them. And I'm not in a... I wouldn't be hurt if they left us, but... And like Salon's asked for $33 million, which is just not going to happen. Nick Smith's now asking for $41 million. It's not going to happen. So some of these guys are, crazy, and I'm not giving that much money. So Lamelo Ball is on the last year of his deal. So that's something we do have to keep in mind. Lamelo, Grady Dick, and then Cameron Holmes is probably going to have to step up in a backup guard role. Brendan Miller, and then you have Koa Pete, who's starting, and then Maluok, and then you have Keith King. But I am going to go ahead and, well, we have some money. Well, actually, we don't have that much money. So probably going to have to depend on a lot of these guys come back to their qualifying offer. As far as center is concerned, it's going to have to be Diabate again. So he's going to just continue to get one-year deals from us. So we're going to sign Diabate to a deal. And the rest of these guys are going to be coming back in the qualifying offers, hopefully. Jabari, I'm not bringing back. It was nice to have him for a while, but we're going to let him go now and let Koa Pete start there. So new coach, Nick Smith. I'm not giving him $37 million. So Trey Mann is going to leave us, but Solana and KJ Simpson will be back. So that's at least helpful. We'll have Solana and KJ Simpson. I think that gives us a full rotation, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we can rock with that. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. I thought it was in free agency again. Okay, so we'll bring all these guys back, assuming... Well, is there anybody else we want to sign, though? Doesn't look like it. So we're going to just bring them back on their qualifying offers. And that will be Simpson and Salon back. They're going to be obviously huge parts of what we're doing. Goes up to an 81 or 85. Grady Dick's an 85. Melo Ball and Brandon Miller are going to be the clear-cut guys that are going to be starting and getting the opportunity. And we have a couple of guys developing at the end of the bench. Now, the one thing I would love to do, I think, is upgrade our center position, our backup 5 spot, because backup centers to me always feel like I just feel like I do much better when I have a really good one. So I think that's where I'm going to turn to a Diabate's contract along with some of these other young players and see if we can get ourselves a better backup 5 going into this next season. So we're going to go ahead and do this trade because we're looking to contend at this point. So we're going to get Jakob Poeltl from the Toronto Raptors, who's still an 82 overall, but gives us a legitimate rim protector off the bench. And we get an unprotected first in the future too. It does suck to trade some of the prospects away, but at the end of the day, like I said, we are in full force trying to contend mode right now. Poeltl does go down 1 overall, which is not surprising, but that gives us a full rotation going into this next season with the optimism that we should be better, hopefully with a new coach. And then I think I keep hitting the mic, sorry. Lamelo Ball and Brendan Miller are going to have full opportunity to be the lead scorers here. There won't be enough, there won't be tugging enough, or it won't be a tug of war of who's scoring and who's not. So there was a lot of scorers we had. Jabari's gone now. So Lamelo Ball and Brendan Miller should clearly both average 25 apiece, in my opinion, if we can make that happen. Pyrex landing us 20th overall. We're now 4.5 star balance. So let's go look at the shot tendencies, though. That way we're all on the same page. Diamond rotation for this season. So that leaves Cameron Holmes in rotation, which is fine. So look at this. If we look at shot tendencies, Brendan Miller's is, I've been messing with these, but I'm going to give Lamelo Ball and Brendan Miller as high as a shot tendency as we can imagine. I want these guys to be the guys that get it done. And then the rest of these look just fine. I'm going to bring the touch tendencies down maybe just for a little bit of these guys. But yeah, this all looks good. So hopefully this season goes much better and we kind of have a clear presence of who we want putting the ball in the basket, and it should be, you know, a clear direction. So we'll see if things go much better. So far, I'm already seeing a lot more promise as we're the first seed. So I will see you guys at the end of the season, where hopefully this is the year we bring Lamelo Ball in the Hornets finals, but we shall see. Jokic wins MVP, Johnson wins Rookie of the Year, Igor's your sixth man, Wemby Defensive Player, Sober's most improved, and Cade is your clutch player. Sober's being most improved. He's an 85 overall at this point. He was drafted in 2025, which is why I wanted to keep him in mind, because I've heard of his name before, and I just want to see how much he develops. So got to keep in mind for a future video. But we finally had a good record. So I'm hopefully anticipating that this could be a season where we go deep in the playoffs. Lamelo Ball does find himself on the All-NBA team, but he didn't average 25 or anything like that. But at least he's here, right? So here's All-NBA third team. John Morant's in the Golden State Warriors uniform, which is interesting. All it's the first team and all defensive second team. So we are the first team in the East, which is great. And here are your player stats. So Brandon Miller was the guy that stepped up with 25 a game. Koa had 14, 13 and 10 from Maluok, 13 from Salon, 13 from Grady Dick, and 9 from Cameron Holmes. So without further ado, let's jump into these playoffs and see if we can make it happen. So we draw Miami in round 1, who has Hero, Lou Dort, Micah, Jabari, who we let go. So I wonder if he's looking for some revenge. He's averaged 14 for them. All right, well, here goes nothing. So I'm going to come around against Miami, and we will beat them in 5. So we finally win a playoff series with Lamelo, but now we draw Detroit, which is not going to be easy. They have Cade and Sharp in the backcourt, which is fun. Asar, Aiden Sheeran, Nick Richards. Their front court isn't that great, though, I will say. So hopefully Koa, Pete, and Maluok can take advantage of that, but we shall see. So game 1 goes to us, 140 to 104, so good start. Game 2 goes to us, 127 to 93. So far, so good. Maluok's having a good playoff series, and we are up 3-0, but we beat them in 5. So 2 games in a row, or 2 series in a row where we beat the Eastern Conference opposing team in 5, and now we draw the team that beat us last year in the Cleveland Cavaliers. So this one should be a fun one. All right. So Cleveland has Garland, Mitchell, Tyson, Mobley, Allen, DeAndre Hunter, Ron Holland, and Derrick Jones Jr., Minnesota, and Dallas on the other side. Game 1 goes to Cleveland. Game 2 goes to us. Game 3 goes to us. 3-1. Come on. Let's go. Beat them in 5 like we've done the other ones. Let's freaking go. So we have only dropped 1 game in each series so far, and now we play Minnesota or Dallas. Who would I rather play? Wow. I'd rather play Dallas, I think. Actually, I don't know. They're both looking... I think I'd rather play Dallas, but we'll see. So Dallas 3-2, and it's going to a game 7. We have the Timberwolves. So yeah, Boogie Fland. And then you have Edwards, you have Jalen Wells, McDaniels, Malachi Moreno, Below off the bench. This is a good-looking team, man. I won't even deny it. So this is going to be tough, but here goes nothing. And not to mention, by the way, former number 1 and number 2, or number 1 and number 3, sorry, should have been number 2. Number 1 and number 3 draft picks from the same draft class. So Edwards and LaMelo Ball going at it from the same draft class. That should be fun. Game 1 goes to us. Game 2 goes to us. This has been the easiest bracket I think I've had in quite some time, and the Timberwolves didn't even get a game on us. So LaMelo Ball is your finals MVP, and we are going to bring home a championship in this final season, which is what we wanted all along. I feel like sometimes when you have too much scoring, it just doesn't work in the 2K sim. I've noticed. You guys have probably heard me say that before. So once we got rid of Jabari, I think and then some of the guards, like obviously Trey Mann and Nick Smith, I didn't want to get rid of them, but they were asking for way too much money. But at the end of the day, a championship is a championship. I hope you guys enjoy this one. I will see y'all in the next video. This is Crushables. I'm saying peace. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you click here to watch another video that I know you'll love.